Chris, we could do a whole newscast on what's been going on in Washington lately, but let's tackle the big three. First, the president speaking at the FBI today and not surprisingly taking some shots at the Bureau's handling of the Russia probe and the Mueller investigation. But does he have a legit beef here? I mean, given what's been going on with the probe itself and what's been coming out the past couple of days?
Well, I think he certainly has a legitimate beef with bias in the FBI and in the Justice Department. Clearly, the fact that the lead FBI investigator in the case was sending text messages that showed real anti-Trump bias, and also the fact that a top Justice Department official's wife worked for Fusion GPS, the organization that funded and basically created the Russia dossier, which was obviously damaging to Trump. Those are things you'd have to be worried about. On the other hand, the actual investigation by the special counsel, there's no sign of real bias on that. As soon as the special counsel, Robert Mueller, found out about this FBI agent and his anti-Trump bias, he kicked him off the investigation. And of course, of the people that have been charged, two of the four have pleaded guilty. So there's, you can understand his concerns about the FBI and the Justice Department, but I don't know that he's got much of a claim yet against the Mueller investigation.
Mueller was said to have wrapped up his questioning recently. Does that signal to you that we may be near the end of this probe and to finally reaching some sort of conclusion one way or the other?
Well, it's not official. I mean, there was a report, but a lot of, I think this is an effort by either the White House or pro-Trump Republicans in Congress to say, yeah, this is almost over, wrap it up. They found nothing. I think that most outside observers and experts that I talk to think that this could go on for a while, that this isn't going to be done by the end of the year or even early into 2018. Remember, he has now gotten, as a part of the plea agreement with Michael Flynn, his promise of cooperation. We have no idea what Michael Flynn is going to tell. And also, in the course of prosecuting the case against Paul Manafort, who was the former campaign manager for Donald Trump, we don't know whether there might be a plea agreement there and Paul Manafort might become a government witness. So I think the claims by the Trump White House that this is almost over may be wishful thinking.
All right, let's shift now to the big tax bill that is supposed to be voted on next week. Our viewers naturally concerned about how it will affect them. Does this pass ultimately and get to the president's desk by Christmas?
Yeah. It does. You've just seen the opposition melt away today. The one person who voted against it in the Senate the first time, Bob Corker, now says he's going to vote for it. Marco Rubio, who had raised objections on the child tax credit, now seems to be satisfied with the changes they've made. I think it's pretty clear this is going to sail through this week, and it will go to the president to sign.
All right. Finally, the issue of net neutrality, which we've been hearing about for the past couple of days, imposed under the Obama administration. It was lifted yesterday by the FCC. At the end of the day, does this basically boil down to whether the government can regulate the Internet?
Yeah, I mean, and a philosophical argument. It clearly can. The question is, should it? Obviously, the Obama administration, and a lot of Democrats feel it should. The Trump administration, a lot of Republicans feel that it should be unregulated, and that's one of the reasons that the Internet has flourished in the past. The concern, of course, is that the Internet service providers will decide to play favorites, that, for instance, content companies that they have a financial interest in, that they're going to provide higher speed Internet, or they'll charge less, and ones that they don't have an interest in, they'll charge more and have lower speed Internet. So, we'll see how it turns out. There are two philosophical differences about whether or not the government should be involved in the Internet and all the proliferation of streaming services that exist now. And if it backfires, if what the Republicans are doing ticks off too many consumers, my guess is you'll see a swing of the pendulum back to the Obama policy.
All right, Chris Wallace, some great perspective tonight from Washington. We'll be watching you on Sunday right here on Fox 5.
Can I just quickly tell you?
Sure, go ahead.
Can I quickly tell you who our guests are? Because
Yes,
we got a great show. We're going to be talking, first of all, to the Secretary of the Treasury, Steve Mnuchin, who's going to know a lot more than I about, one, the prospects for the bill, and two, What's in it? What does it mean for you? And secondly, we'll have an interview with the new senator-elect from Alabama, Doug Jones. Stunning victory over the Republican Roy Moore. The question, what kind of a Democrat will he be? Will he be a Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi Democrat, or will he be a more conservative brand of Alabama Democrat? All of that on Fox News Sunday.
Yeah, that was a race, especially here next door in Georgia, one that we were watching pretty closely. All right, Chris, we'll absolutely be watching on Sunday right here on Fox 5. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Tom.